Hi folks, I'm Matt and welcome to my top 200 games of all time. Let's kick it off at number 120, and why don't I name a queen game? Because it's been a while, right? Well, this is the big box edition of the game Lancaster. Absolutely fabulous game. Basically worker placement in a way. You're taking your workers and you're bidding for spots. It depends on what level knight you have and what additional squires you put on top of it, but you're fighting and bucking other knights off spots, and then finally once everyone's played, either on the board or if you're playing with a magnificent 5-player game, you may even have to play on your own personal board, which is not that good, but the actions are okay. They give you at least something. And eventually, especially in a big player game, you're going to be blocked out and you may have to do that. You will take all the actions there, either collecting nobles or taking that certain action, whatever it is, either upgrading a knight, getting more knights in, or whatever, getting more squires, getting more cash, going on crusades. You can do it all. Now, with the big box, it comes with, I think, 2 expansions, and both the expansions are well worth playing. When I play this game, we play with everything included. We even played with the new laws this time. We kind of switched them up, put in some new laws, because that's the second half of the game, is voting on new laws, saying yay or nay, and collecting voting cubes to help influence your vote. So for instance, if I vote no and 3 other players vote yes, but those players didn't have any cubes in their hand and I had like 5, then I would beat them out and that law would go into effect or would be declined, whatever you wish. And the reason why you're always voting on new laws is that's the way you're going to score victory points every round. So there are certain laws you're like, I want to put that in because I'll make a ton of points that way. Or laws you're like, I don't want that law in there. It's going to push out one law that benefits me or really help my opponent. So going after those voting cubes, which you can acquire every time you get a new nobleman on your chair, is really going to help you out. Plus, noblemen at the end of the game can score you some big points. But the thing is, though, you don't just want to go for that because you've got to start upgrading your knights. You've got to start getting more knights, getting more cash, getting more squires, getting whatever you need. Upgrading your castle to your own little player board. Oh, the player shields are beautiful. There's little mini look-alike castle things. It's just great. Everything about this game is so much fun. I remember when I played this, I played the big box edition first, and I went ahead and said, oh, there's only 2 expansions, we'll add them all in there. And I've never played any without those 2 expansions ever in my life because I went out and got the big box. Super game. It's a queen game, and it's right here at 120. At number 119 is the first ever, I believe, dice placement game. I love me some dice placement. That's why Kingsburg, and I have the 2nd edition here, is really a great game and well worth your time. Basically, you're rolling dice and using the values of those pips to get 1 or 2 characters on the board to get some actions, usually resources or gold or whatever, to help you build things or fend off from, I believe it's barbarians who are attacking you or invaders. I can't remember if they give them a name. But the 2nd edition comes with the expansions from the previous edition. There are so many different avenues and so many different buildings you can build that every game will be different. And that's what this game needs. Now, just because it was the first ever dice placement game doesn't mean that, it's grown old over time. I think it's really aged well. I remember playing it, I think as the 2nd edition came out, and said, wow, this is a pretty strong game, being the first ever dice placement game. And yes, that is thanks to some of the expansions in there. But don't pass this up. If you've seen it and gone, oh yeah, that was the first one, they probably perfected it. No, I think Kingsburg did a pretty good job right off the gate. So that's why it's 119 on my list. Okay, let's stop talking about regular games. Let's go back to queen games. And I have a big one for you. It's Alhambra. And I have the designer's edition because I have to have 48 expansions to this? Oh my goodness. That was one of the longest reviews I ever did for my channel. I think it went an hour, almost 59 minutes, but I reviewed every single mini expansion to the game, and we played them all too. The expansions, you shouldn't be too overwhelmed when playing this game. By the way, it's just a tile placement game where you play cards to get tiles to put on your board to get points. every so often. I think 3 rounds of points, and of course whoever has the most points wins. Very straightforward game. Lots of fun. Lots of fun as you're trying to figure out the best way to place out all your tiles and trying to get them cards so you can buy the tiles you need. Now, like I said, playing plain Jane basic version of the game is totally fine. But if you wanted to add some expansions and maybe borrow someone's Alhambra or play it somewhere, see if you like it, and then go out, if you really love it, buy the designer's edition. Do what I did. Yeah, most of the expansions are good. Some of them aren't that good, and some of them are downright just stupid. But a lot of them were really good. I remember when I got this game, I was thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to play this game 48 times with every little expansion. And after reading the rules of each expansion, I was like, oh, you could combine several of these. I think we combined like 6 or 7 per game we played, and it was not really overwhelming for anyone. I mean, the change of rules was the only big thing, like, oh, we don't have this anymore? Okay, what do these 6 things do now? Okay, got it. And after a while, you got used to it. Now, some things never got used, or, you know, we didn't really think that much of them, but a lot of the expansions, for the most part, were pretty cool. Some we just absolutely loved. I thought about doing another video where I rank all the expansions for Alhambra, but who wants to see that, right? Another hour review there. But I do enjoy Alhambra. My only regret is, after playing with it through all the expansions, I've never picked it up and put it on the table since then, and I really, really want to, because I think if I could have played this more, it probably would have made my top 100. And that's wild, because I'm not a tile placement guy. That is not my cup of tea. I really don't like that many. I have a few tile placement games in my collection, true, but it's not really the best mechanism for me, the one I love the most. However, Alhambra is neat. Believe the hype. It's one of those classic, you know, games everyone knows, and a lot of gamers who are kind of familiar with the hobby have probably played. But I'd waited for the last minute, and then I was just looking for another Queen game to get, and man, when I think about new Queen games, I went big on this one. I think, though, that Queen Games was doing a sale at the time, so I got it for like $50 cheaper. It was still expensive, but to be honest, I do not regret it. That insert for the big box is unbelievable. It's one of the best inserts I've ever seen. I think that I have of any. Well, maybe second best. I don't know, but it's a pretty good one. It could fight for first as best insert there. But the game alone, excellent. Alhambra 118. Let's keep going with new games here, and at 117 is Mitera New Era. This is a worker placement game, because I love worker placement, where you're going around and you're doing several different things to get points. You're starting chicken farming, or you're raising cows, or you're training horses, or you're growing crop, and you're selling all this stuff to get bigger and better things. Make special cakes or special wine if you're growing grapes, or you're making a sweater, you know. If you're growing, I can't remember what else there is in the game, but there's a lot of little different ways. So sheep, that's the other thing you can grow. You make clothes and stuff. And it is just amazing. I remember playing this game for the first time. I believe it was with my nephews. We loved it so much. We did back-to-back plays. Like I said, again, rarely happens when I bring a game out to the table where we'll play it more than once on a game night, because I'm trying to get as many games as I can in there. But we just love that so much. And I think we played a third time that night, because when their other brother came in, my older nephew, they said, "You got to play this game. Can we play it one more time?" I was like, all right, one more time. Let's do it. Because I was enjoying it too. It's a really smart game. And to be honest, whatever you decide to do is a great decision if you do it well. You can win. We had different people trying out different ways to get points. There's a lot. Like I said, I love games that have a million paths to victory, and Mitera New Era does. Now, good news for all of you out there, if you're interested in getting this, definitely check it out, because it's a pretty cheap game too. See, the games I love are affordable for you, for the most part. Let's talk about number 116, and that is from Queen Games. This is a Queen Games video today here. Bastille is the game, and Bastille, basically it's worker placement, but you have these shields, and there are different levels which allow you to, the higher the shield level, the higher the action you can take. Of course, you're upgrading shields. You're trying to arm a bunch of peasants and, you know, lead a revolt in the French Revolution or something like that. The theme is there because not only are you trying to get your militia, but you're also trying to arm them as well. and there's a track that rewards the most of this and that you want to definitely go for as well. A lot going on with this game. I got this game for Amazon on one of those $20 flash sales. I said for 20 bucks, I got to get it. Now, to be honest, when it first came out, I was interested, but the price point kept me away. For 20 bucks, this game is definitely worth it. And may I suggest, if you're getting this and it's still kind of new, going to Queen Games online and buying the Queenies for it, because the Queenies are fantastic. I never play without the Queenies now. Before my review, I never played with the Queenies. Then afterwards, I broke out the Queenies. Queenies come with an extra level up shield and a few other different tiles help mix up the game, and it's just phenomenal. It's such a great game. You don't have that many choices at first, and you're trying to slowly build, kind of like an engine builder in a way, as you're building your militia and going up different tracks to get different points. Several ways to get different points. Like I said, just an incredible game. Queen Games, again, I'll keep saying this a lot in these videos, but they make great games that are simple, fun, and easy to play, and they're beautiful looking games too. Bastille, no exception here. That's why it's on my list. Moving on to a game that's been on my list for years now is at 115, Deep Sea Adventure. Oh my goodness. This is a small little box. I think I may have it. Oh yeah, it's back over here if you can see it. This is like just a tiny little box, and inside that tiny little box is a huge game. You're divers, you're diving down on the submarine to get to the bottom levels or as low as you want to go and collect treasures. Sounds easy, right? But when you move to go back up, the more treasure you have, the more air you're gulping up, you're gasping for. And so there's an air meter that everyone's sharing. So you have to decide how far down, it's almost push your luck, how far down do you want to go before you can move back up? Because as you're rolling a die, you're going to subtract a pip from that die depending on how much treasure you're holding. And it's great. It's a great game. Never trust me in this game. There's my tip for you. Because I always, I'm saying, oh yeah, let's all go down. No one turn around. No one get greedy. Let's all go down, get a nice, because the deeper you go, the higher the point value of those tokens. You don't get to see them till you deliver them. And the cool thing is, we die, I think you play this game 3 rounds. We house rule it, it's 4 rounds. And still, I've never won this game. I will never win this game. And I absolutely love this game. I absolutely love this game because once you drowned, and every player you'll drown, all the treasure you collected goes to the very bottom, and it counts as one big treasure at the bottom, tempting you to go down again into the depths and get another big treasure. It's a smart game. It is a smart game. So far, the person who wins is basically the coward who just gets a bunch on the first level and then retreats every round. They won't get many points, but they will win the game because one of us or all of us are going to die as we go down there. Man, I've never seen such a small game that is so big when it comes to rich and strategy and fun. The fun factor's there. Judge that box not by its size, my friends. Deep Sea Adventure is an excellent game. At number 114 is what can I call this? Dice placement game, I guess, called El Guacho. And El Guacho, you are, I guess, Mexican ranchers, and you're trying to rattle cattle with your dice. And there's a dice pin on the board that you put together. You throw the dice in the dice pin, and you start selecting dice. And if you can, you want to put that number on that cattle. So you put your little cowboy on the cattle, and you can wrangle that cattle in. And you're trying to create a herd. And when you cash in this herd, it's going to be, I believe, the highest number multiplied by the number of tiles that you have of that same colored cow. There are several different colors in the game. And you got to do this in either ascending or descending order. Once you break that chain, you have to sell your cattle. Now, you're thinking, okay, well, here's the smart thing, right? Just get a number 12 and just keep building from then on out, as high, or get a number 2 and then build as high as you can. Keep that whole herd of cows together. Yeah, that's going to be hard because there's different ways for people to break up and steal your cattle in the game. Other things you can do with this dice, instead of wrangling cattle, if you don't have the pips on there, you can put your cowboys in certain areas on the board and in the next round, you'll get some special abilities. Again, this is a game that makes you think one step ahead. Always, you're thinking about the next turn. You're taking moves that you won't be able to utilize this round, but the next round, ooh, you got some big moves ahead of you, like stealing people's cattle, or just messing up their range there, or selling your own, or re-rolling die, or there's tons of different I can't say cheats, but powers in the game that allow you to cheat the actual rules of the game. And it's just phenomenal. I have the little extra mini expansion, and at the top of my head, I can't remember what it does, but I did play with it, I remember last time. You don't really need it. The regular game is so much fun. It's so thematic. And again, it's one of those, the game's always forcing you to think one step ahead as you're placing those cowboys in positions that you will use for the next round. And you have to be mindful of watching what the other players are doing. You're like, he just moved on a space where he can steal cattle, and so did that player. Oh no, they're going to steal my herd, because I've got like 5 or 6 tiles right now, and they don't want me to score big points. I need to go ahead and score this now. You've got to pay attention. You've got to pay attention in this game. I've seen a lot of people lose out on some big points because they weren't paying attention to the other players in the game. Wonderful game. El Guacho, my 114. At 113 is a restaurant game that's been in my collection for quite some time now. Restaurante Italia. You are running an Italian restaurant, and you're trying to build a starter, first, second course, and dessert, I believe, is what you're trying to do. And you're trying to create this great 4-course meal. Now, over the time, you're going to have to get bigger recipes as your chef status moves up a track, and you're trying to impress food critics. You're trying to, increase revenue by getting wines or getting more tables at your restaurant. You're trying to beat the others by spicing up your meal with these little spice cubes, or moving up the cooking track a little bit faster by taking some cooking lessons as well. And that way you can grab higher end and more victory point worth menu items that are kind of hard to get too. You're also going to the market and shopping for all sorts of wonderful ingredients to make your little meal. Simple ones you can assemble really quick, but they're low points. Complicated ones, you got to assemble a lot of food, but you have a masterpiece on your hand. And you're also bidding for different stars or golden spoons for your restaurant, and just trying to have the most prestigious Italian restaurants in all the world, I guess. It's a great game. It's a great game. It's super smart. It has it all. The theme is there. It's so rich. I love games with theme, and this one has theme just pouring out of the box here. There is a expansion that comes in the game. It says you can play. It's a little bit advanced rules. It's not that advanced. Go ahead and bring it out. It's well worth playing with, and it really enhances the gameplay. I think we only played it without it once. That was the first time. Then I included it, and I was like, you can include this game and not get lost. And ever since then, we've been having a blasty blast with this game. It is fantastic. Restaurante Italia. At number 112 is another new game to my collection, and it's one that I have to say shame on me, because I made fun of it for years. For years I said I will never play Lords of Waterdeep. Now here it is, just barely missing my top 100 too. Lords of Waterdeep, I hear all the time, oh, you like worker placement? You should get Lords of Waterdeep. And I look at it and I see it and I'm going, I don't see what's special about Lords of Waterdeep. Well, for my birthday, I got a ton of Amazon cards. I was like, well, I want to buy a board game. What should I get? I saw Lords of Waterdeep in the expansion for kind of cheap. I was like, all right, let me get it. And if I don't like it, I just always give it away. No, I'm keeping it. It's a fantastic game. It really is. So shockingly enough, I was wrong. Lords of Waterdeep, you're basically going around the board collecting items that you need to complete quests and getting victory points. That's basically it, but it seems way more than that. Playing with the expansion, I can't remember what it's called right now, is fantastic. I love doing that too. It takes nothing to put it in there. This is a game that got to the table quite a few times, and I'll be honest, the only reason it doesn't make my top 100 is because it is a new game. And I was like, ooh, I don't want to be Cult of the New. You're like, Matt, it can't get to your top 100 without being Cult of the New. No, it really has to impress me to get my top 100. And even though it did, I'm holding out. Now, this game could most likely be in my top 100 next year because, like I said, I was impressed. And I will admit when I am wrong, and I was dead wrong on Lords of Waterdeep. It is a fantastic worker placement game. Folks, if you love worker placement, you've been kind of snobby about it for years, listen to me. Try it out. You're going to love it. And finally, at number 111 is a programming game, Robo Rally. I have the new cheap edition here, but I absolutely love it. Your robots, you're basically programming your droids, moving it across the board, sometimes pushing other robots to get in your way, or shooting robots and giving them spam cards. When they have a spam card, they have to play it, and that means they draw a random card from the top of the deck, and that robot may do anything. But that's the only way to get rid of spam. I remember one time I was hit so many times, I had so much spam in my hand, I laid down a whole programming thing of spam and had one crazy turn. My robot went backwards, went forwards, turned left, turned right, then turned 180. I mean, it was just, it went nuts with all that spam in there. But at least I finally got rid of it so I could go back on my goal. The bigger the arena you make, the more fun I think you're really going to have. The most we've played is with 2 or 3 tiles, but I really want to include, they say don't include more than like 4 or 5 or something, I can't remember. But I think I am, because just even at 2 or 3 tiles, we were having a great time, and the game seems to end a little fast. You can go get energy cubes on the board to give yourself either permanent or temporary upgrades to make your robot even more special. Each robot is pre-painted, beautiful little mini too. This is in a cheap version. I mean, sure, the cardboard tokens are a little cheap. I mean, well, a lot cheap, I should say. But that's why they have that low price point for it. I absolutely love this game. I'm glad I have a copy, and this game kind of drops and comes back into the top 100 every once in a while, but absolutely a great game. And anyone that I've played with about this game, even though they haven't played many board games, I find this to be a great gateway game for people too. So Robo Rally, fun for everyone. All right, folks, that is all the time I have for now. But hey, come back next time and we'll round out that top 200. See you later.